Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Ascension Tactics Inferno, which is brought to you by Stoneblade Entertainment. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and games generally run about 60 to 90 minutes. Ascension Tactics is a miniatures deck building game. You, the players, will begin the game with your own deck of the same starting cards, but you will customize and grow your deck as you play. On your turn, you can use your cards to generate resources. Resources are used to acquire new cards for your deck and to command your champions on the battlefield to earn honor. There are many different scenarios to play, and the first player to reach the honor goal of the scenario wins. The new edition, Inferno, is a standalone expansion. In addition to solo, campaign, and team-based play, Inferno includes the ability for you and your 3 friends to take on the game in a new 4-player co-op mode, and so much more. So join me as we take a look at what's new. So, if you don't know Ascension Tactics, definitely go check out my previous video where you can learn more about how the base game plays. But in this video, we're going to really try to focus on what's new. I am going to give you a little taste of the basics here. It is a skirmish-based game, a deck builder, and you're going to start with a basic set of cards, like I said, and you're going to build them up to enhance your champions, add more champions, give them more abilities, and eventually wipe out your opponents. So you will be battling back and forth in this game. It really is that type of skirmish for sure. And as you build out your deck, you can really become quite powerful. And Ascension Tactics just introduced miniatures into this, and Inferno just takes it to the next level. So the standard cards at hand are going to be your Militia and Apprentice. They're going to have runes and power on them, and you can use them in various ways to acquire new cards, help and invoke your champions, and do various things in battle. But really, you need to acquire new cards. That's one of the big things, using those runes to do so. So you have a series of these, and then there's some standard cards like Heavy Infantry and Mystic that you can put in hand as well. And that's all going to be part of the cards that you can purchase. Now, those are always available, but every time a card is purchased from the main area, you're going to be replacing it with new ones and so forth. And you're going to have new champions that come out. You're going to have cards that augment your champions and aid them in battle. So enough of the basics, let's jump in and see what's new. This scenario that I got to play, only one was available in this demo, but it was the love that never dies. And you'll see right away that the terrain has been updated for Inferno. So you've got forests, you've got the honor beacons, you've got the portals, you've got the beacons and lit beacons, and there's just obviously this feel of Inferno in the terrain that you see here. Now, this scenario is all about just a skirmish, and you're trying to get 30 honor points, be the first one to do so. And there's various ways, obviously going to battle and so forth, but there are honor shrines that you can go over, you get 2 for, and the beacons. If you can turn 4 beacons, basically have 4 lit on your color, then you're gonna get 10 of those honor points, and it's gonna obviously be a big boost in the game to get to that 30. But those are the basics of what I got to play. I haven't got to try like the solo mode or the 4-player mode yet, but I can't wait because I'm a big deck builder fan, and I really love what they've done with Ascension and the Ascension Tactics, I should say. I love the miniatures and so forth, but you do have that sense of building up your champions and getting your cards bigger and better as you move through the course of the game and try to squash your opponent. Inferno's going to include a new faction. It is the Fallen. Now, there's a series of cards here. You have champions and constructs. If you don't know what constructs are, they're simply cards that are weapons, magic items, or fantastic devices that you can add and augment on your champions and make them bigger and more powerful and so forth as you play and try to wipe out your opponent. Now, they are going to do various things, obviously, like you would expect, and it's all going to be related to like a fallen type of champion. I really like the theme around them. It's going to be interesting to see how they play. And also, there are tokens that some of them use, but I think it's going to be in other cards as well. It is the Devour Soul tokens, and a lot of the Fallen may require that you put that token on them. But those tokens can be placed in other champions depending on the card, and they will augment the abilities. The abilities of all your champions and heroes are at the bottom of the card, and you'll see where those pluses come into play. And there's Corrosive Widow Web tokens. These are really used to slow down your enemy. So you put them into play, and there are restrictions. Obviously, you can't put them on Honor Shrine, you can't put them on a forest or the beacons, but when you do put them into play, if an enemy is on them or passes through them, then it's going to cost them an extra power point to move, and they can only move a maximum of 2. So it is a really awesome tactic for slowing down the enemy, preventing them from getting to a certain spot on the board. I actually used it way more than I thought I would through the course of our skirmish that we played. And obviously, there's a series of new miniatures, ones that are going to be very familiar to those who played the original Ascension. And what I love, my favorite aspect, well, maybe except for the 4-player co-op, which I can't wait to try. I really love the fact that they have transformation in this game, in this version of Ascension Tactics. So what that means is that we have like Emma Ironheart, and if you have 2 constructs in play, remember we already talked about those, constructs in play, and you add a 3rd, well then she can transform. You flip the card and she turns into Mech Ironheart, which is this figure on the board. And there's other characters that do that as well. I love the transformation process. It is one of my favorite aspects of this new version, and it does add a lot of flavor and fun to the game as you battle back and forth with your fellow players. And like I said, these miniatures are really, really nice, really intricate. They've got a lot of detail to them, and beware that again that these are prototype figures, so they're going to look even better when they get done and published and so forth. So I really like that aspect. And then there's even other figures from even the basics. You've got the cultist figures and so forth, but these new characters and how they work and just some of the new abilities are just fantastic. And this is definitely one of those games, getting those cards and augmenting your champions is really key. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now again, this was just a look at what's new in the game, the basics, and you know, if you want more information about how the game plays, check out my original Ascension Tactics video, as well as many of the gameplay videos they have out right now from other creators and so forth. So I just wanted you to get a flavor of what's new, because that's what I'm most excited about. And you know, all the different cards, lots of new cards to add in, and how you augment your champions and so forth. It is a deck builder, a skirmish, but I can't wait to see what some of those other scenarios are in this new version with Inferno and the different terrains and things you got to deal with. I really like this aspect. Again, the 4-player co-op and the transformation are going to be my favorite parts, I suspect. But ultimately, folks, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.